Day.
So we are now on the road. Welcome everyone to our session this afternoon on an orientation to the Online Faculty Certification Program. My name is Dave Giberson. I'm an old retired instructional design coordinator from Online Learning Pathways at the district. And they've asked everybody who's ever had any contact with this course to come back and help because we have such a tremendous response right now. This online certification course was envisioned as a course that would have maybe 20 or 30 people in it per semester as new faculty came on and needed training. Funny, we never dreamed that everybody at the district would have to teach online in a 2-week period at some point. And nor did we ever imagine that we would suddenly be looking at situations where we had to put every course online in an entire semester, like is going to be the case with the summer term. And possibly with fall. We just don't know yet what's going to happen. The chancellor and her cabinet are still trying to look into their crystal balls and see what the situation is likely to be like in August, at the end of August. And I don't envy them that task. But where we normally expect to see 20 or 30 new enrollments in this course every semester, they've put over 400 new people in the last month. And there are almost 800 people enrolled in this course right now. So they're doing their very best to keep up with the management and the grading of the course. And they're enlisting new help as rapidly as they can and getting that done. We're looking at hiring people who have been through the course, who have done well, and who have a lot of experience in teaching online. We're trying to get as many people as possible involved in grading and managing this course, but unfortunately it takes time to ramp that up. So I can just apologize in advance for the amount of time it takes you to get the grading and the feedback and so on, which is something we really hate. We hate you having to wait because a big part of this course is modeling good online instruction, and that's not good online instruction to make you wait. But they are doing the very best they can at this point in time and trying to step up the number of people involved in the course grading as rapidly as possible. Okay, so I have been around. I was not directly involved in creating this course, though I've done a lot of work in it over the years. And it's an excellent online course. And it will give you the basic feel for online pedagogy that you need in order to teach a class fully online. And it will give you a lot of experience with the nuts and bolts of Canvas. And those are its two functions. I will be starting off today with just a brief orientation to the course, some overall concepts and description of how the course is supposed to work. And then I'm just going to take questions. If you wouldn't mind, I'd ask you to put your questions in the chat tool. And I will go through them in the order they are received. And I'll make the answers as comprehensive as I can, though please feel free to ask follow-on questions to that as needed. And then I will keep going until you run out of questions. The last time we did this, that meant I was online for 5¼ hours. We'll see if we can break that record. Won't disappoint me if we don't, but we'll do our very best to get all of your questions answered. And I did just put my email address in the chat tool. I would encourage you to get in touch with me if you have further questions. So I'm going to be sharing my screen most of the rest of the time. I'll go ahead and do that. And here we are in Canvas on my Canvas dashboard. If you're having any trouble seeing anything right now, there is a little black button at the top of your screen labeled View Options. If you click that, there are several different ways to magnify and modify this display so that you can see better. Just try different things and see what works on your computer. Also, it will help if you maximize the window in which you're seeing my shared screen. Make it as big as possible. That will help. You can always cancel that maximization if you need to do something else on your computer while we're working. But I do want to be sure that you see and hear as well as you possibly can. So, once you enroll in the online faculty certification program, you should receive an email from Chris or Peter, or Trenton, welcoming you to the course. And you should see on your Canvas dashboard the next time you log in, this tile right here, the Online Faculty Certification Program for 2019-2020. And you should be enrolled in that course shell with the role of student. You should also find a so-called development or sandbox or practice course, depending on how you want to term it, in which you are a blank Canvas shell in which you're enrolled as the instructor. And you need to see both of those. You need to get into the need to be able to get into both of them. If there, for any reason, you don't see one or the other of those, let one of us know. You can email me directly if you like, and I'll check for you. But it is critical, of course, that you be able to get into both of those shells in order to take this course. And if you have any other sorts of questions about that, please let us know. So you enter the course from your Canvas dashboard just by clicking on the tile associated with it. And this is what the course looks like, what the home page, the opening page for the course looks like. So this is where you want to be. Remember, this is the course in which you're enrolled with the role of student. So you are an online student in this course. And that is probably the principal value of this course, to be quite honest. Absolutely the best way to become comfortable with teaching online is to take a course online as a student. It gives you a perspective that you'd never get if you simply always acted as an instructor. It will give you more empathy with your students when they have problems, and it will just give you a much better understanding of the whole process. So that's why you are in this course as a student, to give you that experience. You will spend the vast majority of your time in this certification program in this training course as a student. You'll get to do everything that an online student would typically do in an online course. You'll read content that is shared with you. You'll view videos. You'll take quizzes. You'll submit homework assignments, and you'll participate in discussions, class discussions, several of them. Several different so-called discussion topics or discussion forums. And you'll do all those things as a student. But from time to time, some of the gradable activities, the assessments in this course, in this training course, will require you to do things that are only possible if you're enrolled as an instructor. And that's why we give you the development or practice course where you're enrolled as an instructor. You'll be asked to go into that course, into your practice course, do something that requires you to be an instructor, and then come back to this training course and let us know that you've done it, and maybe answer some questions or give us some of your impressions about what you just did. That alerts the person who's grading the course to the fact that you have completed that assessment, and they will be able to go into your practice course and evaluate that, and then evaluate your impressions, and then give you a grade. And the course is graded, just to make it more realistic as much as anything else. And the standards are quite high, since you're all faculty yourselves, and you have to be able to do this once you get done with this course. You have to be able to teach online after you complete this course. We're going to ask you to get 90% or better of the overall points available for the course. To make that as reasonable as possible, we'll give you multiple chances to complete each assessment. The quizzes, you get two chances to take each quiz, except for the so-called pre-quizzes or pre-assessments. Those are just informational. They're designed to let you know where you are in a given topic or where you start, but that doesn't affect your grade. But any quiz that you actually get a grade for, you can take twice at your leisure. The homework assignments can be, which constitute the bulk of the course, can be submitted as many times as you like until you get the grade you want. We're not trying to make this a bunch of hurdles that you have to get over. We just want to make sure you understand what that assessment is testing. We don't care what kind of path you take to get there or how long it takes. And same with the discussion forums. You can post into those as often as you like. There's no limit. There are time limits on the quizzes, but they're quite generous. You shouldn't have any problems there. You do have a deadline for this course. This particular cohort of this course will end on June 30th of this year, 2020. So you've still got 2 months to get through this course, which is more than adequate. The average total time expended actively working in this course is around 20 hours of effort. So it's quite a task, but it's easily something that can be done in a couple of months. If you don't finish by the end of June 30th, you're going to have to start over again from scratch, I've just been told, in July. So you don't want to let that happen to you, because you don't want to lose that time and effort you've put in. But other than that, you can do this at your leisure. It is a self-paced and instructor-led course. And there are several instructors in the course who will be interacting with you, mainly through the grading. You'll be getting lots of grading feedback on your submissions and so on. Unfortunately, not in as timely a fashion as we would wish because of the current situation. But they will very much do their best on that. Why are they saying we have to finish by May 13th? I have not heard that. I don't know who's saying that. Certainly Online Learning Pathways is not saying that. We'll stop putting new folks into the course about halfway through June, because it wouldn't be realistic to finish it in times like that, in a time frame like that. But you have until June 30th, unless unless requirements are being placed upon you by folks outside of online learning pathways. If your dean or your department head says you have to be done by a certain time, and we can't, we certainly wouldn't want to contradict that. But as far as online learning pathways is concerned, you're done by the end of June, you're fine. So I don't want you to feel too rushed for certain. This course has been taken in as little as and successfully completed in as little as 8 hours of effort. But that was a long service faculty member who had been teaching online for quite a while and was taking the course just to get certified. Realistically, it's going to take 20 to 30 hours to complete. Let's see. When you enter the course, you come to this home page. And you've got some very basic information here. The first thing you see at the top of the page are the 3 most recent announcements in the course. The announcements are general things posted to the entire course that everybody can read. You can see any earlier announcements by clicking on the announcements link in the course menu over here, and you'll see all of the announcements that have been posted since the inception of this particular course. But the most current ones will appear automatically when you first enter the course. And that's pretty much it. Then you're given a very simple set of instructions here. You're asked to look at the announcements initially, down here at the bottom of the screen. There's a welcome letter, which covers a lot of what I've just said, and a course syllabus. Let me go into the course syllabus. Again, they've tried to keep this as try to keep the verbosity in our information to a minimum so that we give you what you need to know as quickly and concisely as possible to not slow you up with massive amounts of unnecessary reading. The syllabus itself is embedded as a PDF here. And you can read this, or you can download it if you wish and print it out and read it offline. And that's true with almost any document that's posted in Canvas. I've talked about this already. There is a set of outcomes, which you'll become very familiar with. Here are your formal instructors in the course, including our new dean, Brian Weston, who's come to us recently from College of the Canyons. He landed squarely in the middle of the frying pan on that leap. Bless his heart. He's a wonderful guy, and you'll enjoy meeting him when you get the chance. The course is organized into a series of modules, and we'll take a look at that here in a minute in more detail. But one of the things we're most trying to encourage in this course is the concept of modular course design, which basically means that students, as they go through a course, can look at the course, can start at the top of the course modules in the Canvas course, work downward through a series of modules to the bottom of the modules tool, and when they're done, when they get to the bottom of the modules tool, they're done with the course, with all the activities in the course. Ideally, a student should never have to go and swan around in the course menu up here. They should be able to go to the modules and stay there and work their way down and finish the course. Makes it very easy to navigate. It's easy to know where to start and what to do next. And nothing bedevils online students more than being confused about where to go and what to do in a course. That will trip them right out of the course before you can see them a second time in there. So modular course organization is one of the biggest single concepts we deal with in this course. There are, as I mentioned, a lot of activities and assessments that you'll be completing. Pre-assessments are, some modules have a pre-test in them, just meant to assess where you are right now and to give you a feel for how much progress you've made at the end of the module. They are not graded. You only have to take them, you only get to take them once, and there's no need to take them more than once. And they're generally brief, multiple choice type assessments that don't take very long at all. Indeed, there are very few assessments in this course that take more than a few minutes to complete. The video assessment, where you create a video and caption it, is a bit of an exception to that for some folks, though somebody who's familiar with those techniques can do it in just minutes. It's the actual operation of that assessment is very quick once you've got the concepts down, but that one does require a little bit more of a learning curve. You'll be doing a lot of reading. Online courses are still more text than anything else. So there's a lot of reading in the course, but again, they've tried to keep it concise as possible so that you're not reading a book in most cases. And they've tried to break it up into bite-sized chunks, which makes it a lot easier to digest online and off of a screen. Another element of good course design. Try not to provide your students with massive amounts of reading on a single page, because it gets quite tedious to keep scrolling down and down and down and wondering if you're ever going to get to the bottom. There will be discussions, all sorts of discussions that you'll be asked to participate in a prescribed manner, and the instructions will all be available. You'll be taking quizzes on Canvas. That gives you a chance to see what Canvas quizzes look like and how they function, so that your students will benefit from that when you make your own quizzes. We'll also, of course, show you how to make quizzes and ask you to make one of your own. But you'll probably spend more time than anything else submitting homework assignments. Those are generally activities where you create a computer file offline, outside of Canvas. Though sometimes you just type something in a text box inside of Canvas as well. But in many cases, you'll upload a file to satisfy that assignment. And that will probably be one of the more common assessment methods you use in your own online courses. It's by far the best sort of assessment in an online course, because it's much more indicative of a student's mastery of the subject, and it's much harder to game the system if you're so inclined in that case. So there'll be a lot of homework assignments to submit. Already mentioned your practice course. You have to have that practice course, because to complete some of these assignments, you have to be able to do something as an instructor in a practice course where you are the instructor. Rather than going through this section, I'm going to actually take you to the modules tool here in a second. So I'm just going to go through that after we get through with the syllabus. The folks who designed this course subscribe to an online pedagogical theory that says you shouldn't overwhelm people with all of the uh, content and assessments in a course at one time, that it's better to provide it a module at a time, a section at a time. So when you first start the course, you'll only be able to see the first module. And you have to work through everything in the first module before you can move on to the second module. And that will be true as you move forward. You have to complete each module in turn. You will be able to go back if you decide, oh gosh, I'd love to resubmit that assignment from module 2 because I just learned something that would allow me to make a better effort at that. You'll be able to do that, but you won't be able to leap ahead into modules you have not yet, leap past a module that you haven't yet completed. That's one theory on the way to on the timing as to provide access to content on the course. Other people prefer to just put all the modules out and make them available at the beginning and let the students work through them at their own discretion. And the camps are kind of evenly divided on that. So you obviously will get to decide whether you want to do this or not. But you will be subjected to those restrictions in this course. So you have to work your way through each module in turn. And there'll be options where instances where you have to mark something as done, which is what triggers your access to the next module. Here's a breakdown of the grading in each assignment, but each assessment, you'll see that as you're working through, so you know how you're doing. You'll also have access to a running average in the course, and as long as that running average is above 90%, you're in great shape. If it starts dipping below that, then it's maybe time to go back and look at resubmitting some assessments or something, or really doing the best you can on the remaining ones. The total points for the course are 250, and you have to get 225 out of that. But again, you can keep trying and resubmitting. The idea is to make it possible for you to get through the course, not to prevent you. We don't want anyone to fail this. And that's very rare. Indeed, the average grade in this course, when we look at the statistics, the analytics for the course, is somewhere north of 95%. So it's not that much of a challenge to reach that goal. We're not worried about grade inflation in this case. We just want you to be able to get through the course and learn what you need to do. This course does come with 20% of the 20 hours, of flex credit. You can get that by signing up for it on the district flex calendar. It is under the district section of the flex calendar because Online Learning Pathways is a district organ. But it's the honor system as usual. When you finish the course, you just award yourself the 20 hours of credit. That'll take care of a lot of your professional development responsibilities. One good thing about this course. There is at the end of the course a certification statement. It's basically a quiz that you complete and agree to certain things, that you will do certain things or certain education code guidelines and things like that in veering that you understand them and you will adhere to them. That statement sometimes generates a little bit of confusion because all of the point values in the quiz are zeros. The zero just indicates you satisfactorily completed that part of the quiz, and the final grade on it is 0 for everybody. But if we see that 0, we know you've done it. We go in, we look, and we verify that you've answered everything and then they're generally not right and wrong answers, though there are places where you have to agree, for instance, that you'll do your best to make your course materials accessible to students with disabilities and so on, and that we do insist on. But generally, that's just a statement that you have been through the course, and once you complete that, you become certified. Once that's evaluated, you get an email that says congratulations. You can print that email out and take it and nail it on your dean's door, gently maybe, and you're done, and you are certified as far as the San Diego Community College District is concerned to teach online. We are required to provide this sort of training by the distance education guidelines promulgated by the State Chancellor's Office. This is our answer to those guidelines. We don't make the rules. We are merely complying with them, and this is our effort at making it as easy as possible for you to gain the knowledge and the skills that you need to get started teaching online. And that's pretty much it. When you get to the bottom of the syllabus here, you get the nitty-gritty of the course. These are all the assessments in the course. We provide these with these links with some trepidation, because there have been folks who have just tried to start at the top here and work their way down, who figured they knew how to use Canvas and so on, and you can do that if you want to, but we find that that's not generally a strategy that meets with a great deal of success. It's something that we would probably recommend you not do with your students, that is, make this course, so-called course summary, available to them, because they're going to have a tendency to go here and just start working on the assessments without reading anything you put in your modules. So we would encourage you to not emulate that sort of behavior that your students might try, though it's certainly tempting, I have to admit. And much of this is straightforward enough that you could probably get away with much of it. But there is a lot of useful information in the course modules. If I go back to the home page, the last link on the home page starts you off in the first module. So basically, you just work your way through these 4 links and click on Module 1 here to get started, and you're in the course modules. You'll only see the first module. What you're going to see is going to look something like this. This is a test student account. You're going to see Module 1, the contents of Module 1, and the title of Module 2, and that's it. Well, you can see the titles of all the modules, but you can't see any of the content. You can't interact with it. That's normal at this stage. But to show you what it does look like, there are a series of 10 modules corresponding to different topics in the course. There's an orientation, Module 1. Module 2 covers the distance ed guidelines that are imposed upon us from the state level that we all have to comply with in order to teach online. Again, not set by the San Diego Community College District, but by the state chancellor's office and the state academic senate, primarily, are the promulgators of those regulations, your colleagues. Then there's a module on putting the you in your course, how to make an online course seem more human to your students, because it can seem cold and detached if you don't go to a great deal of effort to put yourself into the course. So, and that's important enough that that's the first substantive module that you really, one where you're going to be learning about actually teaching online. that you see. Then a section on effective course design, talking about this modular design concept in great detail, where information and assessments related to a particular part of your course are gathered together so that the students can find them in one place rather than having to swan around through the course menus looking for them. That makes a huge difference in the number of students who will actually benefit from and complete your courses. Then Module 5 starts talking about the nuts and bolts of using Canvas itself. Everything up to that point has been more general and learning management system agnostic, basic principles that would apply no matter what tools you were using to present your content and your assessments to your students. But in Module 5, we start to get very specific about Canvas. Module 6 is some specific tools that you'll use in Canvas. And Module 7 is your certification statement. And when you finish that, you're done. And this stuff here is something you won't even see. There is a section on Canvas support and resources. But once you work through those 7 modules, you are done. And you don't have any doubt about whether you're done or not, because you'll be able to go and check your grades anytime you like. You'll have a grades link, and that will tell you what your running average is and what you've successfully submitted, what you've been graded, what the assessments that have been graded, and what you have yet to do. So it's very easy to keep up with where you were in the modules, but you can always come back to the modules here and see where you, and pick up where you left off. Indeed, within a module, you don't have to keep coming back to the modules tool here to figure out what to do next. There will always be at the bottom of the right-hand corner of the screen a next button. And you can just move through the module from item to item by clicking next. You can also go back hitting a previous button. Those are always present. They're provided automatically by Canvas when you create a module, as you'll learn to do in this course. And you put links to your content and to your assessments into that module. These previous and next buttons are automatically supplied to your students when they enter your modules. And you will have benefit of that as well. So you can just work your way forward, next, next, and so on, until you get to the bottom of the modules tool, and then you're done. And you know when you're done. And there again are the modules. Oh, let's see, anything else that I need to say before starting with the questions? And, oh, yes, and very importantly, just below the link to the first module are email addresses for the 2 principal instructors in the course, the folks who did spend most of their time working on this. And you can access them directly by email as well. Though don't discount the help button for Canvas here either, because there's a tremendous amount of useful information about Canvas there, including especially the Canvas guides that apply, that the instructor guides specifically in your case, though the student guides, since you are students in this course, the student guides will also be of particular use to you. And they contain in just about any amount of information or any information about just about any topic you might need for Canvas, and they're arranged by subject heading. So you always have that to refer back to as well. But in general, you'll be given all the instruction and all the background material that you need to complete any activity in the course in the instructions for the activity. You shouldn't have to be doing a lot of this. And if we get a lot of questions that indicate that maybe our instructions aren't as clear as we thought, we'll try to fix those and try to provide you with more information in line in the course. So that's, we're always trying to minimize the amount of time that it takes you to get the information you need. So I see we have quite a bit in the chat tool here. Let me go over here and get started answering those questions. I would like to know, well, this one, I knew this one was going to come up quickly, so let's go ahead and get started on it. I would like to know how to make a YouTube video using my laptop. I have a flip phone. What we're talking about here is the assignment 2.0 or activity assessment 2.7 in module 2. It's a discussion forum, but it's one that you participate in by providing us with the link to a video that you have created and uploaded to YouTube or some other appropriate location on the web, a video that is captioned and where the captions have been edited for accuracy. And this is probably the single most, this probably presents us with the single greatest number of questions in this training course. So let's take a look at this and see what the instructions are. The title of it is a little misleading. It sounds like you have to do the captioning in YouTube. You don't. Videos that are uploaded to YouTube are automatically captioned. All you have to do in this activity is create a video using whatever means is most convenient to you, and then upload it to YouTube by a number of methods. Let YouTube caption it, and then you edit the captions for accuracy. And we can tell if you've edited them or not, even if they're essentially perfect when you find them. We can tell if you've gone in and edited them and saved the changes. You can create the video just about any way you like by using a variety of tools. But we do insist that it be a video that you created. There's some confusion about that sometimes. People say, well, I found this video on YouTube and I edited can I use that? No, we want you to create your own video. There are two common ways of doing that. One is to just record a video on your smartphone and upload it to YouTube or another site that you prefer, though YouTube is by far the best way to do this. And then let YouTube caption it and you edit the captions on YouTube. The other common way of satisfying this assignment is the one referred to in this question here. How can I do it on my computer if I don't use a smartphone? Or if I just prefer to do it on my computer, which that's great. To record a video on your computer is probably going to be if you record a video from your smartphone, it's probably just going to be a talking head video of you speaking to your students. We would like you to make it a video that you could actually use in a course, but we'll accept you know, just anything that you create, as long as it meets our minimum requirements, was basically you recorded it, you spoke, so that there are some captions created in YouTube, and then you edit the captions. Those are the minimum requirements. The other possibility is to make what's called a screencast by recording your computer screen with VoiceOver, so that you can then upload that to YouTube, have YouTube caption it, and then you edit the captions. So those are the two common ways of satisfying this particular activity. There are other things you can do as well, but those are the two I'll focus on today. And since the first question said, how can I do it if I don't use my smartphone? You have that information about how to do that here. And all of this that you read here is instructions. And there are tips. Screencast-O-Matic is what I'm about to show you here. So all the information that I'm going to give you is right here on this, in this page. What does occasionally get a little lost here because of the extensive nature of the instructions for this discussion forum is the button where you actually submit your work. And that's right here. It's this reply button. This is a discussion forum. Everything that we put up here is just the prompt telling you what we want you to do in this discussion. And then all of a sudden you see a bunch of responses that people have made. And it's easy to miss as you scroll right by it, this little reply button here. That's how you actually submit your work. You just click on the word reply, and you get a text box. Actually, it's what's called the rich content editor in Canvas. It's like a little mini Microsoft Word that allows you to create content in Canvas, the rich content editor. But basically, in here, you just do something like, here's my video. And then you paste in the link to the video from YouTube or wherever you have it stored. And then the people grading it are able to click on that link and evaluate your work. You can get fancier than that, like Kara has here. She was the first person to submit this in this cohort. And Kara is one of our is a long service faculty member who knew all she needed to know about this before she ever got into this course. So hers looks really sexy, but the others work fine too. So finding that reply button is the key here, right there. That, I think, has probably held more people up than any other single factor in this assessment. I got my video, what do I do with it? You hit reply and you paste the link into the resulting text box, and then you post the reply down here in the lower right, and you are done. So that part of it only takes a second. The trick, of course, is creating the video and getting it on YouTube. So let's talk about how you can do that with Screencast-O-Matic from a laptop or a desktop computer. Screencast-O-Matic is a free, at least for limited use, video screencast creation tool available on the web. You just bring up a web browser, and in the address line of the web browser, you type screencast-o-matic.com, or you can just click this link right here to Screencast-O-Matic, which will take you to the same place. And getting started is not too tough. It says here, start recording for free. So to make your video, you click on start recording for free. It'll work on a Chromebook, a Mac, or a Windows computer or laptop. So anything you're likely to have. You then just launch the free recorder. They're not going to ask you for money. You will be asked to allow the browser to open that recorder. So you tell it, yeah, that's okay. Not going to hurt your computer. And you wait. May take a minute or two for the recorder to pop up. And there it is. And that's what it looks like. You're going to have somewhat limited access to Screencast-O-Matic because to give you full access, the bloodsuckers want all of $20 for a year of full access to Screencast-O-Matic. It's a wonderful tool, one we hope you'll utilize in making instructional materials for your students. Screencasting is an incredibly powerful instructional tool, especially for online courses, but also for face-to-face courses, that allows you to make multimedia tutorials for your students on just about any topic or in any subject area. It will basically record your computer screen and any changes that take place on your computer screen as you are working your way through some concept, and then allow you to, and in the process, will record that and allow you to upload it to YouTube so that you can share it with your students and they can watch it as often as they like, anytime they like. Incredibly powerful instructional tool and really quite easy to use. The only thing you really want to worry about here is that your microphone is working. You will have to have a microphone if you're going to do this from a computer. And that's the only thing you need other than the computer itself. You don't have to have a webcam, anything like that to use Screencast-O-Matic, though you can use a webcam with it if you pay the $20 a year. But basically, it's meant to record your screen, your computer screen. So as long as it can hear you, you're golden. And it should work on just about any computer, including Chromebooks, which conveniently come generally with a built-in microphone. If your computer does not have a built-in microphone, you'll have to have one plugged into it. And we can help you with that, though most laptops, of course, do have microphones built in, as well as webcams. So with a laptop, you're almost certainly ready to go. If you have problems with a microphone on a desktop computer, let us know. We can help you with that. But as long as you come in here and you see this Screencast-O-Matic recorder reacting to your voice by having the little green bars run across the screen, then you're ready to go. You're golden. You generally don't want to see too much red like this, where it went all the way up, and you saw a couple of red bars here. That is, just lower your voice a little bit in that event, because otherwise the sound will be distorted and harsh. But generally it works automatically just fine. Really all you have to do is start the recorder and hit record. And there's your record button down there. The big red button always signifies record. And they even helped you out by putting REC inside the button. So that's it. You're ready to go. You just bring up whatever you want to record now. It might be a common recording is a tour of your Canvas shell. So you can bring up one of your Canvas shells that you've been working on and just do a minute or so of how to use that shell, or what's in it, or how it's organized, or whatever. These recordings don't have to be very long. Indeed, if it's something on the order of a minute, it's ideal, because It's quicker for you to edit the captions later, and it's quicker for us to evaluate it. So keep these, feel free to keep these recordings as short as is consistent with the goal that you have for the recording. And again, we'd encourage you to make this like a course introduction, an introduction to your Canvas shell or some other concept in your subject area that you could do quickly and easily, so that you can reuse this. There's no point in not being able to reuse this in an actual course. But that's not our primary criterion. As long as it covers about a minute or a little more, and we can hear you and the captions are edited, we're happy. So what am I going to show you? How about how to create a document in Google Drive? Just I happened to see that up here. So how to create a document if you're logged into your Google Drive. Let me move something out of the way here, just to keep me from being distracted. So to start the recording, I just click the record button here. Screencast-O-Matic is going to count me down, and then it'll say go, and then I start talking and doing something. Creating a Google Doc in Google Drive. Assuming you're logged into your Google account and you have access to, and you are ready to go, just navigate to drive.google.com, as you see here in the address line of the web browser. This is fully web-based. Google Docs is an online browser-based resource of considerable power that is available to you for free. When you get to your Google Drive homepage, you can start a new Google document just by clicking on the big button in the upper left-hand corner marked New, and select Google Doc, and you're presented with the word processor part of Google Docs. You can now simply start typing. I won't make you all watch me type for very long. It's painful. The Google Doc word processor, of course, includes all of the usual text editing tools. You can select format. You can select font, text size, bold, italic, underline, text color, and so on. You can center things. You can fully justify things, all the usual text editing tools. This is just designed to show you how to start a Google Doc. You can title your Google Doc in the upper left-hand corner and begin to create it just as you would in Word or any other word processor. And that's all there is to creating documents in Google Doc. All right, while I've been doing that, down here in the lower left-hand corner, this little pause button has been patiently waiting on me. And it's been keeping me informed of how long I've been bloviating. When you're done with the recording, you just click that button. It's the two thick vertical parallel lines are a standard recording tool notation for pause. Same on your VCR, if you still have a VCR, or your DVD player, or on Netflix or whatever. That's pause. All right, now the recording is paused. Within a few moments, a preview of your Google Doc will pop up. I can probably force it to come up here.
Creating
by clicking the play button down here. You can play a little bit of your recording to see
a Google Doc in Google Drive
to see if everything recorded. Play, pause, play, pause. If everything looks okay and sounds okay, if indeed your microphone worked and all that, you're done. You inform Screencast-O-Matic that you're done by clicking on the word done. And Screencast-O-Matic asks you what to do next. There's no need to edit the video in the vast majority of cases. With a video like this, you just do it over again if you needed to. And indeed, if you decide that it is fouled up beyond all recognition, FUBAR, you can just trash it and do it again using this little tool right here. But don't worry about it. As long as we can see you and hear you and it is not too short or too long, if it's around 30 seconds to a minute, you're golden. Just click done and you'll see these two options. There's no need to edit it. So what we're going to do is save it and or upload it to YouTube. You just click that option and Screencast-O-Matic, it again gives you a preview. You can play some more.
Creating a Google Doc in Google Drive.
You can do your captions here, but we strongly recommend against it. Upload it to YouTube and let YouTube do the captions automatically for you. So you just click upload to YouTube when you're satisfied that it did record. At this point, if you are already logged into your Google account, you get this screen and you're ready to just send it to YouTube. If you're not, and if you use Gmail regularly or Google Docs regularly, you're probably already logged into your Google account. So you'll be done at this point and ready to put it up on YouTube. If not, or if you don't have a Google account, if you're not logged into Google, you'll be prompted to either log into your Google account or to create one. If that doesn't work right through Screencast-O-Matic for whatever, you can always create a Google account by going to accounts plural.google.com. It knows who I am. I use my Google account all day long, so it's not asking me to create one. But if you don't have a Google account, or if you're not logged into it, you'll either be asked to log into your current Google account or to create one. All you have to create one is a cell phone and that you can receive a text message on, and an email address that you're willing to share with Google. It can be your district address or another address. Google doesn't care. The process takes about 5 minutes at the outside, and that's allowing for the transmission back and forth of a text message that has a code in it that you then send back to Google, and then your account is okay. They know you're not a robot, and you're ready to go. Then from Screencast-O-Matic, you can log into your YouTube account, giving the email address and the password for the account, and you're ready to go. You just hit publish. The recording uploads to YouTube. How long it takes will depend on the length of the video and the speed of your internet connection, but it usually only takes a minute or two at the outside. And you get to see it happen. The little blue bar creeping across the screen is supposed to entertain you while that's going on, I guess. Actually, right now, Screencast-O-Matic is converting the video into a form that will upload to YouTube. And in a minute, it'll start actually uploading it. There, it's starting to upload. That happens a lot faster than the encoding, which is governed by how fast your computer is. And you're done. You can say just done and move on, but the easiest thing to do is click Open Upload at this point, because you're going to have to go and look at it on YouTube. So you click Open Upload, and Screencast-O-Matic will start YouTube for you. You'll see a message like this, says we're processing the video, we're not ready for you yet. You can just leave that there until it finishes, occasionally refreshing the screen to see if the video is finished. YouTube has to convert that video that was uploaded from Screencast-O-Matic into its own format and then provide it to your students, or provide it to your clients on YouTube. I'm not going to spend too much time waiting for that to finish. I'm going to go to a video I've already uploaded to show you what the captions look like and how to edit them. I'll just go to my YouTube Studio, which is the management tool for my videos in YouTube, and go to my videos list. There's the recording that's uploading right now, recording number 13. You can change the name of that later. I'm going to go to one that's something that's not not directed at a particular faculty member. Here's a video on how to use virtual backgrounds, like the one behind me in Zoom. I can, when your video finishes processing, you can just go to the video page for that video in YouTube using virtual background and wait for the closed captions to occur. Indeed, you're going to have to wait a little while for the captions to appear. The captions are automatically created whenever you upload a video to YouTube. They are quite accurate generally, but we want to be sure that, but occasionally there are terms that YouTube misses, particularly technical terms in your particular subject area. So it is necessary to check the captions and make sure that they are usable by students with hearing impairment and others. There's no point in going in and messing with the video much until they have occurred. So you may need to go back to your YouTube account sometime later on when the captions have appeared. Usually takes between a few minutes and a few hours, depending on the size of the video. For the videos you're doing, it should be a few minutes. You can then edit the video. That will take you to the video detail page for your video that you just uploaded. And on the left here in this task menu is the term subtitles. Subtitles and captions are, let's say, functionally the same thing. There are technical distinctions between the two, but what is put into YouTube, even though we call them captions often enough, are in fact subtitles. But that's fine. That's what we're looking for in this assignment. Don't worry. So you click on the word subtitles in YouTube, and once the automatic captions have been produced, you'll see two lines like this. And the top line gives you access to the actual automatic captions that have been created automatically by YouTube. You didn't have to do anything to make that happen except upload the video to YouTube. If you run your mouse cursor out along this line, you'll see a little menu button, the three vertical dots. appear. That's Google's menu icon. If you click on that, you get an option to edit your captions on what's called Classic Studio. Don't worry about that. Just edit. Just click where it says edit. You'll see a preview or playback window for your video and an edit button that allows you to edit the captions. Click on that edit button and the captions will appear over here to the left as 2-line text couplets. And you can edit inside of those text boxes. Just click into them and you can make any changes you need to. Sometimes you can just edit the captions just by looking at them because you know what you said. But you can also just play the video and have the video remind you of what you said and then go over here and edit the captions if need. So I can just hit the play button on the video here, the little right caret. Using virtual backgrounds in your Zoom meetings. Well, that was almost perfect. Maybe I want a capital U here. And instead of an and, I believe that was an in, I-N, a preposition. So not a big deal, but there. And that sounded like the end of a sentence. So I probably need a period after the word meetings there. Not a lot of editing. Both hosts and participants can do this. That sounded like another sentence. I took a pause there. Again, usually all you have to do is put in capitals at the beginning of the sentence and periods at the end. Do you have to actually do this in the videos you're actually using with your students? If they're short enough, yeah, you really should. If it's a 2-hour-long Zoom meeting, no. And you get to decide where that dividing line is in between there. Because the vast majority of the time, the YouTube captions are perfectly adequate as is. But in this, for the purposes of this activity, we're asking you to do this edit. That's why we encourage you to keep the video short, so that it won't take you very long to do this. Because editing captions can be a bit tedious. Not difficult, as you see, but it's tedious. You just keep playing through the video and editing the captions until you get to the end of the video. This was a 4-minute video. So I'm not going to do the whole thing here now. That would be counterproductive. When you finish the editing, go to the button that says Publish Edits in the upper right-hand corner, and your changes to your captions, your edits will be saved. And you are just about done with this assignment. All you have to do is give us a link to this video so we can come and look at it and verify that everything's right. To get that link, you can return to your YouTube Studio, which you got dropped into automatically when coming in from uploading the video. And you want to be in your video list here. And opposite each video is a series of icons that allow you to see information about the video or do things like edit the video or edit the captions. But if you click on the details link here, the little pencil, here's the link for this video. You just copy that to your clipboard, either by doing a Control-C or a Command-C off your keyboard, or clicking this little icon here. That will put that link on your clipboard. You can also just pull up the video later in YouTube where it would be played, and there's a share link below and to the right of the video. You click on that, there's that link again, and you can just again copy it to your clipboard. So you can get this link in a couple of different ways. Now you go back to Canvas. Get this out of the way. I've been done with Screencast-O-Matic for a while. I'm just going to close that. and figure out what I did with our canvas here. Here we were. Okay, you go back to this 2.7 forum. Click again, click reply. Let me cancel out of this. Click reply down here right at the bottom, right underneath resubmitting. And indeed, you can resubmit this as often as you like. That's true with any of the homework assignments in this course. Click reply and just paste that link. Control V or Command V on a Mac. Paste that link, press enter, post the reply, and you are done. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to mess up the nice discussion forum here. But if I just hit post reply, this would appear in the string, and we'll be able to find it when we grade it. That's the way to do this on a computer. And the other common way to do this, to satisfy this assignment, is to just record a video using your smartphone. From the process will be exactly the same from the point where you get the video up onto YouTube as it was here. You'll go in, you'll wait for the captions, you'll log into YouTube, you'll wait for the captions to be created, then you'll edit the captions, get the link to the video from YouTube, paste that link into a post in this discussion forum, and you're done. So the only thing that's different is actually creating the video and uploading it to YouTube, and that's even simpler, if anything, on a smartphone. And I'm going to show you how to do that here. I warn you in advance, when I do this on a smartphone, the video is, given the subject, is ugly in the extreme and has been known to produce feelings of nausea in viewers. So brace yourself. I'm sure it'll be fine for you. So let me show you how to do that. In order to do that, I'm going to make use of a technique, use of a device called a USB connected document camera. I have a little piece of software here, and yes, I'm sharing my screen, so you should be able to see this. A little piece of software that will show you what I'm doing on my smartphone. I do have to turn that upside down because the camera has a simple lens. Can't do that itself. Okay, and maybe zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little better. And make this whole thing bigger, again, so you can see this better. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this on an iPhone because that's what I have. The process is even simpler, believe it or not, on an Android phone because Android and YouTube both come from Google. So it's real simple, even simpler on an Android phone. But you will know, I'm sure, on your smartphone how to record a video. That's probably the first thing you ever did with it. If you have any problems with that, let us know. Indeed, I'm going to show you how to do it on an iPhone. We go to the camera button. I could actually go straight to the YouTube app on the phone and record from there, but let's keep it as simple as possible. I'm just going to go to my camera app on the phone. And of course, by default, it wants to use the backward-facing camera on the phone, which is up against the desk. So I need to tell it to use the selfie camera, the forward-facing camera, which is this little icon right here. And it just allows me to tell it to use the other camera. Tap on that. And it sees the camera looking down. Now, I'm going to try to fix it so you can see me recording this and see the phone, see me and the phone at the same time. I guarantee you that won't be a pleasant experience, but I'll do my best. I'm going to pull this back toward me a little bit, tip it a little bit, and there I am. Way too close. Obviously, you just prop your iPhone up or your phone up, or use a clamp or something like that to hold it. Propping it up probably is the best way to go. Let me get it back over here. This is very ad hoc, but it'll work. So now I just tell it I want to make a video by tapping on the word video, and then hit record. Hi everybody, we're recording now. Here's the ugliest video you're likely to see anytime soon. Just need a little something here to upload to YouTube. Again, we'd like you to make maybe just a little minute or two of a welcome to your course or something like that you might be able to use in the future. But this will do for demonstration purposes, and you're seeing what I'm doing here. So now I just stop the video. And the video is recorded. It's on my phone. It's in my Photos app. But we don't have to worry about that because the YouTube app's going to be able to find it. I can always play it back if I want to. Tapping on the little thing there and play it. And I do want to make sure I recorded the video, and I think I've got my volume turned down here. Let me check. Yep. It might have something to do with it. Let's see. See you anytime soon. Yeah. Just need a little something. So you can play it back to make sure it recorded. And now you're done with the camera app. You can go now back to your phone and find the YouTube app on your. You do need the free YouTube app to upload on an iPhone to upload to YouTube. If it's on an Android phone, the link to YouTube is built into the camera app, so it's even simpler. So I'm showing you the hard one here. I go into the YouTube app that you can load. It's free. You can get it from your app store. No thanks. I don't want to do YouTube music. Now, to put a video up onto YouTube using your phone, using this app, you just use this little create button at the top. It looks like a little camera. Let me zoom in on that. Whoops. Sorry, hit something by accident there. Let me zoom in on that a little bit so you can see a little better. There it is, right there. It looks like a little camera. You just tap on that to get the process started. All right, YouTube. Let me zoom back out now so you can see. YouTube finds your videos. That's the one I was afraid of reproducing from the other day. God. You could right now just record your video right from here. You didn't really have to record it in the camera app first. But here's the video I just recorded right there. So I just tap that video. I select that video by tapping on it. Hi everybody, we're recording now. Just a little minute or two. And it plays. You just tap on it to pause it. And there's a next button in the upper right hand corner. You just hit next. Next thing. This gives you some basic information about the video, including an option to change the visibility of the video. I don't want this going out public. Geez. I'm not especially vain, but that's too ugly. If you tap on the word public, it assumes you want it to be public. But the other options are, let me zoom in on those. And this is something you have to decide with your Screencast-O-Matic video as well. Public, unlisted, or private. Don't make it private. If you do, we'll never be able to see it. That's like if you're making your baby movies available on YouTube to your family. You'll want to select either unlisted or public. Unlisted means we can play the video as long as we have the URL, which you're going to provide to us. Public means anybody could find it. So I don't know about you, but I don't want that up there. So I'm going to select unlisted. And then, and you can change that later once you get it uploaded. You don't have to do that right now. But once you've chosen your visibility, there's an upload button in the upper right-hand corner, right there. You just pop that. At this point, if you haven't logged into your Google account on the phone, or if you don't have a Google account, you'll be prompted to create one. But just very quickly, the video will be on YouTube. And the app will let you know when it's there. There it is. We just loaded that again. Or I'm sorry, we just loaded that onto YouTube. Then you go to YouTube. We're done with the phone. And let's see, where were we here? I need my YouTube. There we go. Just go to youtube.com. If you're not logged in, you'll be prompted to sign in to your Google account. If you are, you'll see either a little picture of yourself up here or a little silhouette. Either way, as long as you see this circular link here, you're logged into YouTube. You just click on that and select YouTube Studio, which is your video management tool in YouTube for your video channel that's automatically created with your account. And go to your videos list in the left-hand menu bar here. There's that video. It's already ready to go. It probably hasn't been captioned yet, but it's there. You can click the details link, and there's your video link that you need. And you go and you put that into the discussion post in Canvas, and you're done. So this whole process can take 5 minutes. It takes a lot longer to talk about it than it does to do it. Let's go back and look at that other one, see if it's captioned yet. I can go to it on YouTube and it'll tell me, yes, it is. Just that fast, the captions are there.
Creating a Google Doc in Google Drive.
Turn them on by clicking that CC symbol.
Assuming you're logged into your Google account and you have access to, and you are ready to go, just navigate to drive.google.com. As usual, near perfect, but at this point I'd go to edit video. Again, I'd go to subtitles in the video details page. I'd go to, I may have to tell it I'm actually speaking English. It apparently couldn't tell. English United States. These do make a difference. Confirm that. Here's my automatic captions. I click on the menu button, I edit them. I click edit here, which will cause the captions to appear over here, and I go through the process I've already showed you. So it's essentially the same process once you get the video up on YouTube. It is the same process once you get the video up on YouTube. You can pick whichever one of those is the easiest, or you can pick it based upon what hardware you have available, a computer, a smartphone, or both. We don't care. The idea is that you create a video, you upload it to YouTube, you get it captioned, or you let YouTube caption it, and then you edit the captions, and you're done. That takes a whole lot longer to talk about than it does to do in most cases, but
When you have questions about that, let me know. I know that took a while, but that was the thing that most people come into this orientation session looking for. So we wanted to make sure you had that in great detail. Okie dokie. Now I'm working my way down the chat tool to the next question. Is this the class for the Introduction to Online Learning certificate? Well, it is the, yes, that's what we're talking about, obviously, though it is not the certification class. And unfortunately, while you can get flex credit for attending this, there is a flex number for it. Mary sent that out this morning. It doesn't count toward your certification course. Okie dokie. Okay, I'm just paging through everybody's greetings. That's wonderful. Thank you. It's great to hear from all of you. Welcome, Shane. I see you're a chemistry teacher at City College. In a misspent youth, I acquired a PhD in organic chemistry from the University of Georgia. So, and look where I ended up. Don't let this happen to you. Am I in the student run? No, that's good. We're good. A lot of chemists here. That's cool. I like to say when I took organic chemistry, Friedel and Crafts were still around, but only the chemists get that. Ooh, a lot of people here. Sorry, it just takes a bit. Don't want to miss somebody's question here because they're all good and everybody benefits from the answers to them. And again, I will not leave as long as there are questions here. And when I get to the bottom of the chat tool, I'll just ask you to speak up if you have more. Okay. Wow. There's a lot of people here. My goodness. I have very little experience in online teaching, so please be patient with me. Patience is the one thing I've learned to mimic over 45 years in education. So you may rest assured I will answer things as often as you ask them. And take one step at a time. That's really good advice. Is this a course that Brian Weston sent an email about on 410, the online faculty certification program? That's what we're talking about, yes. Oh, I see Trenton already answered that. Thanks, Trenton. Trenton Tidwell, one of the actually employed instructional design coordinators at Online Learning Pathways, is in here with us today answering many of your questions.
I think I got to quite a few of them, Dave.
I think you have. I'm paging right past your answers here, even as I speak.
Just paste them in there and we'll get to them.
You bet. If I teach, let's see, I want to make sure, let's see, Maryland. I don't think, oh yes, Trenton did answer that, good. So, yeah, it looks like Trenton, it looks like you've gotten just about all of them here. Was there anything you remember that you especially needed me to address in this before I throw it open?
I think you've gone, that 2.7 is the real big question.
That's the one that everybody had questions about. We've been through that once, and I'm sure I'll answer more questions about it, so don't feel bashful about doing that. Trenton has saved you hours of time here, and me too, so thank you. Let's see, Trenton, Tor's question about the iPad and the iPhone or phone. Did you address that?
I recommended the desktop version for the most functionality.
Yeah, Definitely, you can run your Zoom meetings from your iPad. It's a formidably powerful device. You do have to record to the cloud in that event, but that's not a big deal. I believe you can, you can record from an iPad. You can use your cell phone in lieu of a webcam. And that is a common technique with Zoom. It does require usually an app on your phone, and that also has a driver or something that you record on your computer. I do have a tutorial in the works showing how to do that using an app called Epoch Cam, though there are several solutions to that. That's probably not something I want to do right now. I want to concentrate on answers about the certification course. But Tor, if you've got more specific questions about that, please email me and I'll be happy to send you a little video tutorial. We'll show you how to get that set up. There's lots of information about that online. And yes, you can do that. I have gone over that process. Good. All righty. I'm just looking to see if there's something that I especially want to address here that I think will be useful to the group. Okay. Great answer. Thanks so much, Trent.
You got it.
What if we don't have any equipment to produce a video? If you've got a computer and a microphone, you've got the equipment you need, as we showed with Screencast-O-Matic. That you will need. That or a portable device of some sort, a mobile device, an iPad or a smartphone. But I know that obviously you have a computer, or you wouldn't be teaching online. You may need a microphone. If you need some suggestions on that, email me. I'll be happy to provide that. Yep, and somebody answered that for me. And it wasn't Trenton. I love that about chat. Again, you can use Screencast-O-Matic. If you have a computer and a microphone, you don't have to have a camera. Good. It doesn't have to. You don't have to use a mobile device for that. You can also use Zoom. Trenton makes a very good point. Screencast-O-Matic is the one we usually recommend, but Zoom will work too. And we have tutorials on how to do most of this stuff. I should probably show you that while I'm thinking about it before I forget. We have a site where we have all of our video tutorials stored. It's at sdccdolvid.org. I'll put that in the chat tool, but I don't want to lose my place in the chat tool right now, so I'll ask you to wait a bit on that. I will, when I get to the bottom of the chat tool, I'll put that in. But this is where you can find just about any of our tutorials. The recordings of these seminars are under Workshop Archives in the menu at the top of the screen. So you can pull up all of these recordings. And this one will be up there hopefully about tomorrow morning. It has it'll take it some time to get captioned. It's going to be 3 hours long, but it will be there. If you want a specific topic, just search for it. Like if you want to know how to screencast, you can just type that. Or if you want to know about Screencast-O-Matic,
You can just type that in, press enter. Scream, S-C-R-E-E-M, helps if you spell it right. Okay, let's try that again. That worked better. There's one on the basic screencasting, including uploading it to YouTube. Here's Screencast-O-Matic, how to publish to YouTube. So all of that's right here. This will show you how to, if you want to record your webcam, if you have a webcam, you want to record a talking head video using Screencast-O-Matic, you can do that. And here's a tutorial to show you how to do that. These are all YouTube videos, screencasts that you can play back, and they'll give you the information you need. Okay. Does the green check mark tell us that we're done with the modules? Now that just means the module is published and students can see it. The white check mark and the green circle, as I keep reminding myself. Has anyone figured out what Pronto does, what we need to do with it? Pronto is a wonderful tool that allows you to connect with your students and interact with your students in real time when you see them in the course, if you're in there. Unfortunately, it's something we're not likely to have for very long. It's in there because it's free for the next couple of months, but it's a quite expensive service that I just don't know if it's going to end up being kept, so I wouldn't get too excited about it yet. I don't need Flex credit. Is there any benefit to signing up for Flex with this course? Probably not. Though it can help with salary advancement. That's a good point. So you might want that in your Flex. I'd forgotten about that. You might want to have that in your Flex record, even if you don't need the hours. Couldn't hurt. I'm completing the online certification at Cuyamaca. Will that work? Yeah, probably. But the dean, Brian Weston, makes those decisions. You have to send that to him, and he will make that judgment. But generally, yes, we do accept certifications from other institutions that meet the standards that have been set by the program here. And the vast majority of our local fellow institutions do. I just can't say one way or the other here. That's the dean's purview. Do you think it would be a good idea to run through this sort of presentations for students at the beginning of the course? You betcha. That's one of the best things you can do with Screencast-O-Matic, for instance, is do a course tour and show your students where things are in the course and how to use the course and how to use the tools in Canvas. Yes, all of that information is available to them online in the Canvas guides and so on, but to hear it come from you and to see your course, the one that they're going to be operating in, is a huge benefit to the students. It's going to help keep them in the course. So yeah, that's a great idea. A question about, oh, here's a good one coming up. A question about notifications. Trenton, I think you did handle that one later. Hi, Dave. Suggestions on how to do chemistry labs online? Question mark. Whoa, yeah, really good question. There are vendors who produce lab kits that can be mailed to students that will allow them to do basic laboratory exercises at home.
I don't have to tell you what the limitations are on that. Are they worthwhile?
I suggested Labster since we have got access to that. But like your caveat earlier, it's hard to say how long we'll have access to that.
Well, and not only, and there are a number of organizations or a number of vendors who will produce lab kits and that the students can purchase. And you can set that up with the vendor and give the students the information they need to order them and so on. And they're fairly reasonable in price. How valid they are pedagogically is something only you can answer from your standpoint. But I would just go to Google and Google online chemistry lab kits. And you'll see a lot of options. Carolina Biological makes them. That's somebody we're all familiar with. I get emails, eScience Labs, I get emails from all the time. I haven't used any of these. I've been out of teaching chemistry a lot longer than I've been. I was out of teaching chemistry by the time I started doing this sort of thing. So I can't I can't recommend any of these, but you can see there are just a ton of them available. So it is worth considering whether they're really valid in terms of a pedagogically useful experience. I don't know. I'm not, like I say, I couldn't recommend any of them. Let's see. Could we upload videos to Dropbox? You certainly could, and they would work from there. Though Dropbox is not really designed as a video server, they will work. But on Dropbox, there's no captioning tool. And the captioning is the biggest part of this exercise. If you had to do the captions yourself before uploading the video to Dropbox, you've got a much tougher task. So we strongly recommend you put it somewhere where it will be automatically captioned. And that would be most likely either be YouTube or the Zoom cloud. If you're using Zoom to create the video, which is perfectly acceptable, you can then upload, you can record to the Zoom cloud where the video will be automatically captioned, where you can edit the captions, and where you can then get a link to the video that you can put into the discussion forum for activity 2.7. I do have a tutorial for that. I think I have uploaded it to this site. Let me check for that. If not, I need to do that. I'm checking for myself here. I'm not seeing the one I want. I've got to check on that. Sorry. Occurs to me, I did that specifically for one faculty member, and I don't remember if I posted it generally. It doesn't look like I did. I'll get that up here. So if you just search for Zoom, it'll show up among the more recent videos. Okay. I just used Zoom and then posted. Yeah, that's great. We don't have Canvas Studio, no, which is a video plugin for Canvas. Do you have to have a YouTube account to do this? Yes, to use YouTube. You have to have a Google account, which gives you a YouTube account. One Google account works for all Google
Dave, can you do more than one video and they can take the best one? Trust me, we're not going to be commenting on the quality of your video other than to congratulate you for a particularly nice one. As long as it meets the basic requirements, we don't care. So don't worry about that. When I had my students submit a PowerPoint, they used reply. Yeah, then attach. You're saying not attach, but paste. Right. When you're putting the link into the discussion post for activity 2.7, all you have to do is paste in the link. You don't have to attach the video. We don't want you to attach the video file because that's hugely large and so on. It would take forever for it to upload and all that. We just need the link. We want the video on YouTube or the Zoom cloud, so that we can just go and look at it. But we don't want it actually uploaded to Canvas, which is what would happen if you attach the video file. I'm not sure it would even let you attach a file that size. I think there's a file size limit for attachments in the discussion forums, and that's probably going to be bigger. How long should the video be? As short as is consistent with your intent for it. Around a minute is perfect. All right. Well, what would you suggest is the preferred way to share an asynchronous lecture with PowerPoint slides or to go over a rubric, etc., in Canvas? That's called screencasting. We've got an entire workshop archive on screencasting here that was just done on the 22nd of April, Introduction to Screencasting, that will give you some suggestions. But just right off the cuff, Zoom is a great way to do that. Just start a Zoom meeting with or without anybody else in it. Bring up PowerPoint, load your presentation, just work your way through the presentation while recording your Zoom session, talking and then narrating the slides. When you're done, either let the Zoom presentation go to the Zoom cloud or upload it to YouTube. And we've got tutorials in here to show you how to do either. So that's a great way to do it. Screencast-O-Matic works very well. The same way you just record your screen using Screencast-O-Matic, bring up your PowerPoint and talk about it. There are other screencasting tools you can use as well, and some of those are talked about in that screencasting session. Okay. Screencast-O-Matic is a wonderful tool. I would agree with Trenton on that. I mainly use a TechSmith product called Snagit that has a slightly more efficient workflow than Screencast-O-Matic, because there are days when I do several screencasts. I mean, 7 or 8 some days. If I'm replying to a lot of questions and I'm making ad hoc screencasts to send to faculty or students. And the workflow in Screencast-O-Matic can be a little cumbersome, but the quality of the productions is amazing. If you're doing a screencast every now and then, you can't do any better really than Screencast-O-Matic. Okay, Wendy, the hardest part was finding the video on YouTube. I hope I showed you how to do that. But if you have questions, let me know. Let's see. Okay. Trenton got that one. Oops, I'm afraid I probably missed this question about how to view this recording. I did show you that. I hope I got that in time. Let's see. I'm getting an email saying I need to change my password for school because I'm still using my default one. Should I do that? Yeah, that's always a good idea. Your default password for Canvas, anyway, is your birth date, which is scarcely, trust me, it happens to be my birthday today. And I'm getting messages from people I can't even remember. So my birthday is out there. Facebook ensures that everybody in your Facebook friends know your birth date and so on. So yeah, I would change that definitely. Don't click on any links in any emails to do it though. Go directly into either your portal or into Canvas and change it there. Do not ever click on a link in an email asking for you to enter your password and so on. I don't care who it came from. And if you're creating a Google account and you don't text, Google gives you an option to do it by email. So. That's a good suggestion, Carlin, about using your phone when you're in a Zoom meeting as a log into your Zoom session on your phone so you can see what your attendees are actually seeing. That's saved my tuckus more than once where I've thought I've shared my screen and I didn't or something like that. And having my phone sitting there in the meeting showing me what my attendees are seeing has saved saved a lot of embarrassment more than once. Students asking for my Zoom account link. I presume they mean the link to access your Zoom meetings. Is that accessible to anyone for the asking? Well, you would provide that to your students normally when you are planning on using Zoom with your Canvas course or with your course, whatever. I would never put that information on any kind of public forum because you risk people outside your class coming in and perhaps being disruptive, the dreaded Zoom bombing. It's very unlikely to happen if you just share the link to your Zoom meetings through Canvas, because then only your students will be capable of bombing your meeting. I have heard of that happening, but hopefully that's something you can deal with. How do I use Zoom for my personal use? This is a question that comes up a lot. And what I'm about to say is not any sort of policy or anything like that. It's just my view on the subject. Those Zoom accounts that you're provided by the state chancellor's office that confer Zoom accounts come with unlimited usage. The state does not pay any more for that account if you use it for personal use than if you don't. Their fees are not based on usage, they're based on access to the accounts. Also, the more you use Zoom, the better you get at it and the more your students benefit from that. So personally, I don't see any ethical problem with using your Confer Zoom account for personal communication. You would just
send your meeting link or the meeting ID to your whomever you're meeting with, and they can enter the Zoom meeting just as your students could. You'd probably send them the link through email, which would be personal. It wouldn't be on a public forum that anybody could find. Again, it makes you better at using Zoom the more you use it. So I think the state is benefiting from you doing that. So I don't see any problem with that. But again, that's a personal opinion, not a policy. I wouldn't hesitate to do it. Another question about an external certification from another college. Again, check with Chris, Trent, or Peter about that. They'll forward that on to the dean, and the dean is the one who will make the decision. But generally, in many cases in the past, certifications from other institutions have been accepted. So. Good question about captions from Sharon. When we speak, we often don't follow proper grammar. That's true. I certainly don't speak exclusively in complete sentences, though I try my best. But being an old chemist, I mean, I'm not an English major. I'm sure I fail all too often. When we're captioning, should we correct our usage, our grammar and so on, to make it more correct grammatically? And my advice is no. I would leave it pretty much as it is. It's much better if the captions are as close to verbatim what you actually said as possible, because the students are going to hear you say, otherwise the students are going to hear you say one thing and they're going to see a different caption. And that can be confusing at a critical moment in the video. The key to captions is access to the content, your narration of the video, not grammar. So I certainly don't. I'll put in, if I'm editing carefully, I'll put in punctuation. But I don't want the students to hear one thing and see something else. That's counterproductive. That's one man's opinion. And I've made a lot of videos over the years. I've uploaded to YouTube before. What's the difference between the studio and the channel? The channel in YouTube is just where your videos live. You have to have a channel in order to put videos on YouTube. When you upload your first video to YouTube, if you don't have a channel, it will make you create one with a couple of mouse clicks. It's no big deal. But the channel is just where your videos live. You can create multiple channels in YouTube if you do a lot of YouTube videos and they're useful for different things. You can create different channels, but most people don't bother. I certainly don't. And I've got somewhere between 500 and 600 videos on YouTube, and they're all in one channel. YouTube Studio is the tool that you use to manage your videos within YouTube. It's where you go to see your list of videos, where you go to search for a video in your channel that you can't remember where you put it. Oh, that'll happen after a while. It's where you can go to access information, like it's where you can go to edit your captions, find the video to edit your captions and stuff like that. The studio is a tool that allows you to manage the videos that are in your channel. You can also delete videos that you no longer need and things like that. So studio is the tool, channel is where the videos live. Oh, cool idea, Holly. I teach acting.
Could my students do a YouTube video on their end and then send me a link? Oh boy, yeah, could they ever? That'd be a great pedagogy in in teaching acting online. I mean, it's one of the things you can do when you can't sit with them face to face. And it's a great thing to do even when you can sit with them face to face. I see you nodding your head. You have to be at the top of my video list there, so great. If you have 2 Gmail accounts and channels, can you share from one YouTube channel to the other? Not that I know of. It doesn't really matter to the students that your videos are in 2 different channels, because you're just going to put a link to the video in your Canvas course. But I don't know if there's a way to merge 2 accounts or not, but you probably, since you have 2 Gmail accounts, you have a reason for having 2 separate Google accounts. So not to my knowledge, but that won't matter to your students, so it doesn't. You would probably, if you wanted to move a YouTube video from one account to another, you'd have to download the video to your local computer from YouTube, which you can do if you're the owner of the video. YouTube will not allow someone who doesn't own the video to do that, though there are ways to rip videos off YouTube, even if you're not the owner, but that's a little, shall we say, out of the mainstream. But you can download your videos and then upload them to your other account if you want to. If you have questions about details on how to do that, email me and I'll show you how to do it. I've never used Canvas before. Are we going to learn this week? That would require that I know what my schedule is for the rest of the week. Let me look. Oh goodness, that's embarrassing. That's an answer I should have at my fingertips. Let me bring up my email on another screen here. Oh gosh. Let's see, this is the 4th. I don't remember that. Yes, we have an introduction to Canvas on May the 7th from 2 to 4 p.m. same time. So that's coming right up. Again, May the 7th, 2 to 4 p.m. Same link. You get into that one exactly the same way you get into this one. Just let me make an opinion about that sort of access too, or share my opinion, I should say. The biggest problem that I've ever had with Zoom, and I don't usually have very many problems with Zoom, the biggest problem I've ever had with Zoom is a situation you may have encountered, where I was in one Zoom meeting room and my students were in another. If you use, as some security experts are recommending, if you use the scheduling tool in Confer Zoom, the Confer Zoom app in Canvas, or the scheduling tool from the Zoom website, each meeting has its own unique join link and meeting ID, which does reduce the chance of someone crashing your meeting and being disruptive somewhat. However, it also makes it much more likely that you and your students are going to, at some point, are going to end up in the wrong or in different Zoom rooms, because students may try to use an old link. There are lots of things that can happen there. You may use the wrong link. It's happened to me. I just don't like doing it that way. I like using my Zoom personal meeting room, whose access information never changes. I don't publish that on public forums like Facebook or Twitter or something like that. I know I'd get people breaking into my meetings. I only make it available through email. Mary sends that out every week, or through a link in a website that is not public, like Canvas. I have done dozens upon dozens of Zoom meetings just this year alone for the district. One time I've had somebody break into my meeting and try to be disruptive, and I was able to throw them out in 20 seconds. It's just not a big deal. It doesn't happen very often, even if you do this a lot. So I'm much more concerned about my attendees not being able to access my meetings than I am about the remote possibility that somebody might invade one of my meetings and try to be disruptive. So I always use my personal meeting room, whose access information does not change. And I very rarely hear from anyone that they weren't able to get into one of my meetings. I'm a lot more concerned about that than I am about Zoom bombing, which, as I say, I've seen once in all the many, many, many Zoom meetings I've done over the years. There is indeed, on our video site, if you search for Zoom bombing, there are a couple of tutorials that will show you how to avoid this sort of thing. There's a whole workshop on enhancing Zoom meeting security, which covers a lot of things, but there's a more focused video on defusing a Zoom bomb. Shows you how to get that person out, identify that person and get them out of your meeting as quickly as possible. And it's real easy to do. So I don't recommend throwing the baby out with the bathwater and making it harder for some of your students to get into your meetings by worrying about a Zoom bombing. Because quite frankly, the people who are most likely to bomb your meeting are your own students, because they don't want to sit through it. And we've had some people have that experience. And this will show you not only how to boot them out of the meeting, but how to tell who it is, so you can deal with it in an appropriate fashion, which we won't speculate upon. So yes, I think I got started down this rabbit hole, responding to a question about how do I get information about Canvas. And indeed, I'm going to have on the 7th, I'll do a session like this. But I've done that before. If you go to the sdccdolvid.org and go to the workshop archives, there are recording after recording on Introduction to Canvas. There's probably half a dozen of them at least in there that I've done over the last year. You can always look at those. And I'll make a pitch for one other thing. I have done a series of very basic Canvas tutorials that assume that you're brand new to Canvas and you need to get started with it as quickly as possible with a minimum amount of effort, because you have a lot of other things you need to do. If that sounds familiar, you can go in our tutorial site here to LMS tutorials, Learning Management System tutorials, that's Canvas. And you can look at all of our Canvas tutorials from here, but you can also select the broad strokes, quick Canvas tutorials. That's a series of about 7 or 8 tutorials, I forget how many, 7 I guess, that cover the basics of getting started with Canvas, from probably this one, basic Canvas in a hurry, how to do content, homework assignments, adding content, importing content from the Canvas Commons, what does a Canvas course look like, and getting into Canvas initially. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a great job of ordering these. You kind of have to decide that accessing it's probably the place to start. This this one right here, Broad Strokes, Canvas Basics in a Hurry, will give you a list of the tutorials in order, in logical order. You can start from that. So that will help if you're just getting started. And it's a little bit, and the tutorials average about 7 or 8 minutes long. So it's a lot more time effective in some ways than sitting through a 2-hour course. Or it allows you to go back and revisit some of the stuff I've done in the 2-hour course and pull it back up in a hurry. Let's see, as I'm going down the chat questions, can you tell us what time you're at? I'm at 3:46 p.m. in the chat log right now. So I'm about an hour behind. Not quite. And Trenton's done a lot of these, so I'm going to move forward. Let's see. Is there a way to do live rehearsals for music groups? Unfortunately, there's something of a delay in the transmission of the Zoom audio. So if you had a bunch of people come into the Zoom meetings and each play an instrument, there's no guarantee that they'd be fully synchronized as they were playing. So people could play individually and play their parts individually, and everybody could listen, and that would work great. But playing as an ensemble together on Zoom is probably not going to work well. You could try it. It would just be a matter of seeing if the delays, the varied delays, are enough to really throw things off to the point where it wouldn't be useful. Those videos you see online of people singing as a choir together in what looks like a Zoom gallery view with all the little webcam videos and so on, and the sounds synchronized perfectly, are done in a different, they're not done using Zoom. They're done, everybody sends their audio and video track into one person, and that person mixes them all together in a multi-track mixer and synchronizes them all up perfectly and so on. It's a fantastically painstaking and tedious process. It produces some lovely stuff, but it's not something done live in Zoom, unfortunately. I'd love to talk more about that if you'd like to contact. Oh, there's a good question. Trenton's done a lot of these, so, but if I pass over something that you asked, please let me know. If you don't hear me address it, please let me know and I will deal with it. So I'm seeing a message here that I've got 128 new messages. I hope I'm getting, but I'm moving along, and so I think I'm getting it. How do we know if we've been Zoom bombed? Yeah, sometimes it can be fairly subtle. The things that most often happen are someone will share their screen when you're talking to your group. Suddenly someone's screen will pop up and you didn't share your screen. That's an indication that either one of your students is playing with the share tool relatively innocently, or someone is trying to disrupt your meeting. The quickest way to deal with that is to just share your screen immediately. You as the host, if all the share settings in Zoom are set at the defaults, if you share your screen, you'll bop anybody else's screen share off and you'll shut that down immediately. You may hear someone speaking in your meeting and saying things that they shouldn't say. If that happens, you'll know immediately, of course, and you can mute everyone using the participants tool, the mute all and the button in the participants tool. And when you do that, uncheck the box that says allow participants to unmute themselves. And that shuts down the sound, except for yours. So you can turn that off in a hurry. Another thing that commonly happens is you suddenly see someone drawing on you're sharing your screen, and you suddenly see someone drawing over top of it, like with a blue pencil or something. And they may be drawing naughty pictures. If that happens, you can disable participant annotations, and you can also select an option that says identify annotators, so you can tell who's doing it in case it is one of your students. But you can shut that off pretty quickly as well, and you can delete whatever they put on your screen very quickly. There's much more detail on that in my tutorial on defusing a Zoom bombing. So that will give you some specific, that will show you how to do what I just described. Gosh, interesting question about Adobe Spark, Wendy. I'm not familiar with the tool. I have more tools than I know what to do with already in that regard. The tools that we're recommending to you, the ones we're familiar with and that we can recommend, but I would say absolutely try it. And if you like it, let us know and tell us about it. We're always looking to help with that. Who can help us with making better videos now that I'm gone? Well, I'm not actually gone until June 30th anyway. I'm still available. You're always welcome to email me about making videos. I can't resist it. But we do still have our old instructional video production site. It's at sdccdolvid.org/getreal. And Katie Palacios created this site a number of years ago, and it's still good. Get Real, that was an inside joke at the time, but it's easy to remember. So it's the same URL, starts off the same as the on-demand site, but with a /getreal after it. That site is still up and running. And there's lots of good information here about and advice on creating video, and that will outlive me and Katie and everybody else in all probability. That's not going anywhere. But I'm always happy to help. I've heard of DroidCam, Ron. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that worked for you. That was one I've seen recommended for Android, as a matter of fact. The Epoch Cam works better for the iPhone, but the Android version of it's apparently not as good as DroidCam. Okay. Okie dokie. I don't know if Trenton answered that one. It's a little hard to tell. So I'm going to, yes, Trenton did deal with that. Okay, good. Question about breakout rooms in Zoom. Have students break into groups and so on. And Trenton sent you the Zoom tutorial on using breakout rooms, which are available too.
I did ask the question about next semester twice and it hasn't been answered that I could see.
I'm sorry. You broke up just as you said what you asked. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to find out when's the earliest we can start next semester's class. I asked twice. It's been skipped twice. I've never seen the answer, and you just.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I saw that answered. You'll get your live shells about a week before the beginning of the term, but you don't want to wait for those. You can at any time request what's called a development shell for whatever courses you're going to teach. And you can create the course in that development shell, load all the content, make all the quizzes and the homework assignments and so on, and get it all ready to go. And then when you get your live shell just before the beginning of the term, you can just copy that content, all that stuff, over to your live shell from your development shell. It takes about 3 minutes to do the copy, or your part of it takes about 3 minutes.
I'm sorry. This certification course, when is it offered again?
Oh, the certification course. I thought you were talking about the courses you were going to teach. The certification course will start up again in July, and a new cohort will begin. So it'll be probably the first or second week in July that will become available, and that will be announced widely, and you can start then. Indeed, if you try to sign up past about the middle of June, they're going to automatically put you in the next cohort, and you'll get access to that in July, early July. Did that answer the question? Great. Okay. When making comments in the assessments, is there a way to see them in order of publication? Normally, they are presented to the student that way.
Dave, I'm sorry, I asked that question. I
Yeah.
meant this discussion board, and it seems like when I get my notifications, they're just all kind of jumbled up and they're not in received date order or posted date order. I have things that were like a year ago, and then I'm trying to pick out the ones that are with my present classmates, I guess. You know, people who are taking the course who are at the same point
in the training
I am.
course. Yeah,
Yes,
training
yes,
course.
yes.
There's so many people in that training course that I can well believe that it may sometimes send notifications out of sequence. The notifications are really best used just to let you know that something has happened in that discussion forum. And the best way to see what has happened in chronological order is to go into Canvas, open up the discussion forum, and look, and scroll down to wherever you were. You can also do that.
Yeah, it seems like when I scroll down, there's hundreds of discussions, and they're not in order for me. I don't know. There's ones from August 2019. I'm sorry?
They should be in chronological order.
I'm not receiving them in chronological order.
I tell you what, if you can send me the name in an email, send me the name of the discussion forum that you're having trouble with. I'll go in and take a look at it and see what's going on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We want to deal with that at that event.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
I will. Yeah, I'll take a screenshot of them.
Oh, I'd appreciate that very much.
All right, thanks.
Can you separate email and Canvas by class? Well, when you use the inbox tool in Canvas, you have to send to a particular class.
And when you receive emails in your inbox tool, you can filter them by class. I think I can show you that real quick. I go to my inbox tool, and I get all these emails, these messages here in Canvas. If I want to see the messages from a particular class, I just go to this first menu here, and I select the course that I want messages from. I got to select one here that I know I got some messages from. Just a second. There we go. Nope, that's not it. That's the one. Okay, those messages came only from that class. So you can filter your received messages by class. And of course, when you send, you have to pick a class to send, that the student is in, to send to them, or students if you're sending to multiples. You have to choose a particular class at that point. You're all very welcome. Thank you. Very nice messages here. Okay. So, and thanks to those of you who have answered questions in the chat tool without either one of us. We appreciate it. There's an interesting question. Does YouTube caption the words in songs when the song is played and sung? It tries to. Sometimes it's more successful than others, depending on the meter and the quality of the sound and the accent and things like that. But it will try.
Dave, relative to that, then when it's posted up on YouTube, do the captions have to show, or is there a way to turn off the captions?
No, the captions on a YouTube video are closed captions, which means they can be turned on and off by the viewer.
By the viewer.
Right.
Okay.
You can't determine whether they appear or not initially, but the student can. They just click the little CC link. Excuse me. In the, let me find my YouTube window here. Just lots of great questions, folks. Thanks so much. There we go. Let me pull up a YouTube video here. The captions are turned on and off using this little CC symbol in the player bar. And your hearing impaired students will know all about that. You won't have to tell them about that.
Okay.
That's where you turn them on and off. Another thing that your participants can do that they may not be aware of, because I wasn't aware of it for a long time, is that if sometimes particularly if you're doing a screencast and you're showing them something on your screen, sometimes the captions get in the way. But your viewers can just mouse over the captions on their screen and click and drag them out of the way and get them somewhere where they're not in the way. And they can do that as the video is playing and move them around. So the captions are not a problem that way. Just sort of a similar question.
Dave, also, the question that I had asked about breakout rooms, the response that Trenton gave me was a response to moving around my courses on my dashboard. He gave me the URL for that.
Oops.
But the question that I have is there any session in which it would be appropriate to ask you to demonstrate breakout rooms, or shall I go to some URL?
It would. And a session like this would be a good thing because there's enough people in it because you have to have a certain critical mass of people to make it work.
I see.
But Probably not today, unfortunately, because
okay.
I've still got quite a few new messages, it looks like, to deal
How
with.
about during that Canvas introduction? Would that be inappropriate because everybody's just getting started?
Probably during the question and answer session for that.
Okay, all right, fine, thank you.
Or of course, an introduction to Zoom thing. But that is what I need to do is I just need to do a session on breakout rooms. So let me take that under advisement and see if we can get something like that scheduled.
Okay, thank you.
It would make a lot more sense that way.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
you bet.
Dave,
Haven't
how
checked
about,
the-
my
Yeah.
question on my new IPEVO, which I can't operate because I'm signed up to Confer Zoom, and the directions I have are for Zoom. Is there any way I can tie it into Confer Zoom?
Confer Zoom is just the name for the collection or the group of Zoom accounts that are paid for by the state chancellor's office. Confer Zoom accounts are Zoom Pro accounts. Plain and simple. They're just ones that are part of a group that have been bought by the state chancellor's office, actually by CCC Confer, the state video conferencing organ, which is where the Confer Zoom name comes from. But those are just
Okay.
regular Zoom Pro accounts.
When I click on it, I can't find anything on the screen that I see that answers getting it started or making the connection between the two of them, between my computer and the camera.
When you start up your Confer Zoom account.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's one of those things I can't show you because Zoom doesn't send that downstream. But basically, if your webcam is plugged into your computer or is built in, yeah, Zoom should find it automatically. You shouldn't have to do anything to make that happen. It's possible if the webcam is a separate webcam and it's not built into the computer and it's real old, then Zoom might not be able to find it.
Well, it's brand new today.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. You plug it into the computer, into a USB port, wait 5 minutes for the computer to automatically load the drivers and so on, and you should be ready to go. You should bring up Zoom. When you bring up Zoom, the webcam should be there, but it may be turned off automatically when you start the meeting. That's fairly common. There is an icon in the Zoom menus at the bottom of the screen that's a little stylized camera, and it may have a red slash through it that would indicate that the camera is turned off. You just click on that and the camera starts up. And I'm seeing you, so obviously your webcam is working.
Well, that's news to me.
Just dawned on me that that I was seeing you talk. So you got it working. I mean, whatever you've done is fine.
But when I go into my Canvas site and I click on Confer Zoom on the left-hand side, all it does is give me a screen that tells me to set up meeting.
Okay, now the Confer Zoom app is another issue. That's just an interface that will allow you, that helps you use your Zoom account within Canvas. It's a convenience, not a necessity. You can do everything other ways. But when you get into the, let me see, I think what you're talking about is this. Bring up Canvas. Oh, what did I do with Canvas? I know I had it open there somewhere. Ah, here we go. Too many screens. Forget where I am. Okay, if you go into a course in Canvas, actually to show you this, I have to log out and log in as a different user because I can't use the Confer Zoom app
with my account. There we go. Let's just go into a course here. You click on Confer Zoom. Oh, no, don't tell me I've hidden it.
You have Zoom, not Confer Zoom.
Oops, just a second. Let me go into another course. I've hidden it there. I think it's visible in this course. There it is. There's the Confer
Okay.
Zoom app. When you go into that, the first thing you get is an event schedule, which
Correct.
you may or may not have anything on.
Right. I
To
have nothing.
schedule an upcoming conference, you click the schedule button. And it will ask you to provide times and approximate duration, things
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think I can do that much.
Okay. Or if you want to start one right away, you just hit quick launch and you start a Zoom meeting right then and there. So that's how you get started with this. You can also find your recordings here if you have recordings in the Zoom cloud. But most of your operation will be done from that first tab. And you either schedule a meeting in advance, and then if you schedule a meeting in advance, your students can also see it here. They can go into the Confer Zoom app and look at the event calendar. They can see when your upcoming meeting is, and there'll be a button for them to join it because they're already authenticated and so on through Canvas. So
Right.
that's, if you're using the Confer Zoom app, that's the usual way to proceed. The quick launch is if maybe one of your students emails you and says, I got a problem, can we meet in Zoom? Then you can start one right away and then send them the link to the meeting and so on. But usually you would schedule the meeting in advance.
All right, I don't see any connection between my camera and this particular page.
No, your camera doesn't come into play until you actually get into a Zoom meeting.
Oh, so
This
I
has
have to
nothing.
go into a meeting.
This is just an
It's a
convenient
calendar.
infrastructure to get you into a Zoom meeting. To schedule a meeting or to start one immediately. Your camera will come into play when the Zoom meeting starts and you enter.
Oh, okay. Now I feel better.
But the camera wouldn't have any applicability to this app here. You can't even test the camera here. You have to actually start a meeting in order to.
Well, I could start a fake meeting with.
Exactly. Start a quick
Right.
meeting and check your
Right.
camera and so on. Exactly. And you can do that anytime. And you can start as many meetings as you like.
Dave, thanks a bunch. I was beginning
You
to,
bet.
oh my God, another thing I can't do.
Well, no, and whenever anybody writes directions, they unconsciously make certain assumptions. And sometimes those assumptions almost always those assumptions are, what as the saying goes, assumptions are the mother of all mess ups. That's more or less how that saying goes. And it's almost impossible to avoid them. So if directions we give or something like that don't make sense, or if you get hung up at one critical concept, let us know, and because we want to work through that with you. And we try as we will, we can't completely avoid making those assumptions.
Well, you've made my life a lot better, let me tell you.
Oh, great. Interesting looking at everyone's camera picture live. Yeah, that's called gallery view in Zoom, and it's wonderful. You can sweep the class at a glance, and for those who are using their webcams, you can tell who's confused or who's asleep. Hopefully someone you haven't put them to sleep and they've fallen into a bowl of chicken soup and drowned or something, but you can see that in gallery view and call 911 for them or whatever. But gallery view is wonderful, but you're dependent upon, I'm only seeing the top of their heads in some cases. Well, you can't really, that's dependent on how the person has their webcam aimed and so on. You can't really do much about that.
Though Zoom, interestingly enough, if everybody agrees with one another, does have the capability to do far end camera control. If you have the right kind of camera, you can set it up so that people can control your camera while you're in a meeting and they can see, or you can control theirs. But it requires everybody to agree and do some setup and so on. But Zoom does have that capability. In case that ever became an option or became an issue, I'll just mention that. And I think it was probably some of these Trenton didn't see, so I'm trying to pick those out. What does T mean when I check my grades for my Canvas online course? Means there's a submission waiting for you that was created by text entry. The student types something into a text box in Canvas. It means that basically you're going to grade it the same way you would if they uploaded a file. It's just you don't have some of the capability to do markup feedback and things like that that you would have if they uploaded a Word document or something. But that's all the T means. It means a text box submission, or yeah. If I use Zoom to make my video, may I edit my captions while still in Zoom? Nope, sorry, Zoom doesn't have any facility for that. To get the captions in the first place, you have to upload it to YouTube or the Zoom cloud. And once the captions are created automatically, you can then edit them. There is an option for live real-time captioning in Zoom, which CCC Confer used to provide, but they've run out of money for it. It was very expensive for them. Zoom, I mention this because there is a piece of news about Zoom that may be of interest to folks. And I don't know if it's going to be applicable to us anytime soon or not, but Zoom has gone into cahoots with a real-time transcription company called Otter that offers an automatic engine that will actually caption your Zoom meetings in real time. Unfortunately, that's not something you get for free. And I don't know if CCC Confer is considering that or is going to have the money to pay for it or whatever. But there is a nice integration now between Zoom and this Otter service, like the little furry critter, Otter. It's a fascinating idea and an interesting concept, but I haven't heard anything about whether that might come available to us through our Confer Zoom accounts or not. It would probably be exceptionally expensive, but I don't know. Can students be allowed to upload screenshots as homework assignments? Sure. You would just set your homework assignment to be submitted by file upload, just as if they were going to type a Word document or something like that. But when they upload the file, they just upload their screenshot file instead of the Word document. So there's nothing you have to do other than write in the directions for the assignment to take a screenshot, save the file, and upload it to the Dropbox for the assignment. So it's not fundamentally different than setting up a homework assignment that was going to be submitted by Word, or satisfied by a Word document. It does. You may have to explain to the students how to take a screenshot, though most of them are pretty adroit about that. There are, of course, screenshot tools built into the operating system on the Mac and the PC. And you can find tutorials on how to do that you can share with your students. You can link those into the directions for your homework assignment. If you're on a PC, do this. If you're on a Mac, do this. Or if you know of another way to take a screenshot, that's fine too. I just need the file. And it needs to be one of a certain number of different types of files. But screenshot programs
almost universally use very standard graphic file types, usually JPEGs or PNGs, which you can open easily in either you can open them in the speed grader in Canvas, or you can download them and open them on your local computer without any trouble. So yeah, that should be no problem to have students submit screenshots. Indeed, it's one of the more common ways of satisfying certain types of assignments, like where you want the student to write something out on paper, or I'm sorry, to type something out on the screen and take a screenshot rather than, or maybe do something with a piece of software and then have them take a screenshot of them having finished that and then send you the screen and then upload the screenshot file to your assignment Dropbox, just as if it were a Word document or anything else. Did that answer that question? Kathy?
Yes, Dave, that did answer my question. So where it says what you'll accept, does it actually say like JPEGs on there or something like that?
You could enter that. You can, when you're setting up your assignment and you want to limit file types, you can type in those extensions like .jpg, comma, .png, comma, .gif, comma, and so on. Or quite frankly, I just wouldn't bother. I just accept it, let them upload what they get. The screenshot programs are all going to use something standard that you can bring up.
So don't limit it to .doc or .docx.
Oh, no, those are Word documents. That would stop it from working.
Right, so just don't put any limits on it.
My advice would be to not make any restrictions.
Okay.
Just see, and if you ever get a file that you can't open, let me know, send it to me. I'll convert it to something that you can open, okay?
Okay.
I don't think it'll happen, but if it does, we can deal with it.
All right, thanks.
You bet. Working our way through. Just trying to make sure I don't duplicate Trenton's efforts here. I'm going a little ways down, then coming back. Forgive me if I do accidentally answer one twice. How do I get Confer Zoom to work with my spanky new IPEVO camera? All right, well, you saw me do that earlier, right? You can actually use that IPEVO camera a couple of different ways in Zoom. You can, but I'm going to give you the best way to do it rather than give you all the options. There's a piece of software that works with your IPEVO camera. They've taken to being cheap enough to not send it to you on a CD, which is not impressive. It's not one of the things I like best about IPEVO. But if you've got your spanky new IPEVO camera sitting on your desk, just plug it into a USB port on your computer and then go to ipevo.com. ipevo.com and go to software, which is this green square just a little ways down, and click on that. And the software you want is the IPEVO Visualizer. It's free. Doesn't do you any good if you don't have an IPEVO camera, so they don't make you pay for the software. You just click download now. It'll ask you what kind of computer you have. If you have a Windows computer, you're probably going to get this. You just click on that and follow the usual process for installing an app or a piece of software on your computer. I can't show you what that looks like on a Mac. I don't touch the things myself. But anyway, you install that software. If you have trouble with that, contact me and I'll help you work through it. once you get that software installed, you can just start it up in whatever way. Either it'll be in your bar at the bottom of the screen on the Mac, or it'll be in your Windows program list. But you just find that IPEVO software, however you normally find programs on your computer, and run it with the camera plugged in. This software displays on your screen what the camera sees. It may be upside down like this because some of the older IPEVO cameras have very simple lenses in them, but you can rotate it at need by clicking on this tool here and just twirling that around. So now your students can see whatever your camera sees. You can make this bigger to make it easier to see. You can zoom in to see even closer. Mine's an old camera. It has some limitations on resolution. Your new camera is far better than the one I have. But my old one still works fine for me, so don't worry about it. And there are other things you can do here. I've got a tutorial on how to use this software on that OLVid site. Just type IPEVO in the search, IPEVO in the search box, and it'll come up. But that's basically how you use your IPEVO camera, the best way to use your IPEVO camera with Zoom. This, of course, assumes you're sharing your screen. That you share your screen, and then the students see whatever the camera sees. And when you don't need that in play anymore, you just minimize it and get it out of the way, and then bring it back up whenever you need it. I've got some Windows misbehaving on me here. Sorry about that. So anyway, the IPEVO visualizer is the first one. The green icon is the one you want. Okay. When I'm sharing my screen, I don't seem to be able to see more than the 6 students at a time. Is there a way to see at least 12? If you have multiple screens on your computer, yes, you can undock that and show the entire, you can show as many as you have screen room for. I'm doing that on my other screen here, but that requires that you see that you have multiple screens.
While I'm asking you that, can you give us the, there's a company that you buy used equipment from, and you gave
Yes.
one, okay, yeah, all right.
I know the one you're talking about. This would be a great place to get another monitor.
Yeah.
It's called www.tech4less.com. I can recommend these people because I've done business with them literally for decades. I've had very good results. They're based out of Colorado Springs, but they ship all over the country. And they have some terrific prices on stuff. They're an open box, what's called an open box retailer or a refurbished retailer. They sell equipment that's either been factory refurbished, or sometimes they refurbish it, or something that's been used once, like at a conference, or maybe it was shipped to somebody and they decided they didn't want it and they shipped it back. The company can't sell it new anymore, so they sell it at a huge discount to these people, and they sell it to you at a nice price. I usually stick with the so-called open box deals like that. And you can search for whatever you want on here. And if you sign up for their weekly deal alerts, they will send you an email once or twice a week. And you just wait a little while, and sometimes they knock another huge chunk off the price. And I've gotten my best deals that way. They also have what they call a fire sale every day, and they'll send you an email, and it's some little gadget or maybe a big gadget that they've cut their price like by half or something like that. So it's worth waiting a few weeks if you can and see if they come up with a monitor on a fire sale that you can use.
Okay.
And I've gotten some stellar. I got my wife on one of their weekly email deals. I got my wife a 32-inch, nice 32-inch Samsung monitor for like $125 or something like that. It's worth several times that at one point. So sometimes you get really good deals out of these people, and they're reputable, and they will give you good customer service. I've never had any trouble with them. I had to send something back to them one time, and I'm talking over 10, 15 years, and they no questions asked, just send it back, and
Right.
they facilitated that. So it was I've never had a problem with it. All right. Thanks for all the birthday wishes, everyone. And again, I'm trying to not re-answer something Trenton already has, but there's so many questions coming in. I apologize. I might be doing that. Okay, Trenton did answer that one. Good. We talked about that. Many of my students already use Google Slides. I assume you're talking about Marcy. Is there an advantage one over the other? Google Slides works fine for me, and it's a lot cheaper than PowerPoint. You can't beat free. I don't see any problem using either one if you have it. And Google Slides would work just as well in a Zoom presentation as PowerPoint would. It doesn't have some of the capabilities that PowerPoint does, but probably has all the capability that 95% of users would ever need. So I'm very much fond of free software, and Slides is a great tool. Okay, got a question about the view log for student activity during exams, which is a very useful tool. It can let you know what your students were doing in the exam. Some students have left the quiz taking page and then resumed at the exact same time. And probably just means that they hit the wrong button or something and then came right back in. Or that they had a glitch on their internet connection that could cause that to happen too, or cause Canvas to think they had left.
It's me, Dave.
Yes.
I only took a look at a few students so far, and one woman does that repeatedly. Out, in, out, in, out, in at the very same time, 15 different times. And one of them was broken up. She went out of the exam, then she answered question number 4, then she resumed the quiz taking page. So does that have to do with you're looking at a question, but now you want to look at the whole exam? Is there that kind of
I honestly don't know what would cause that, assuming the timestamps are within seconds of one another. I don't know. I'll have to look that up and see. I haven't heard of that happening. That's interesting.
I'll take a
I
screenshot.
do know that that kind of record keeping in an LMS is subject to some interesting interference due to glitches in the student's internet connection. But if she's doing it over and over and over again, that doesn't sound like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll take a screenshot. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, would you? And I'll
Yep.
look into that. That's fascinating.
Okay. All right.
Still scrolling down. Is there a way to rearrange tiles on
Okay,
your?
I had that answered by Dave. He gave me a URL for that.
Well, it's
Is it simple? I'll take the simple,
there's your dashboard.
right?
You want to rearrange the dashboard?
Right.
Just click and drag.
Thank you.
You bet. I'm working on a tutorial. I got another request for it today on managing your dashboard, and I'll of course include that in it. But yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I'd used Canvas for a long time before I realized you could do that. I accidentally dragged one over something one day, and it moved like that. I said, "Whoa!" I gotta walk the dog. I can relate to that when mine's sitting here looking at me plaintively. You probably hear him growling in him. He doesn't do waiting well. Oh, a little birthday cake icon. That's very sweet. That took some doing to put that into the chat tool. Thanks, Iris. I appreciate that. Oh, mostly we've got thank you messages now. I just uploaded a video successfully. Great.
That's me again.
Yeah, I see. A little help to finish. Just tell them it's not for kids.
But look, at the top, it says, you're legally required to comply, da, 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 but it doesn't have a place for me to tell them.
When you're first uploading the video, that very first page where you have to put in a title,
Yeah.
there's an option on that page.
Oh, wow. So I missed it on that page.
Yeah, it's on the details page, though. If you go to the details page for the video in your YouTube studio, just scroll down and it's down there. You just click that in.
And then the other question is, I put a title and a description on it then, and on this page, after I've uploaded it and all that, it's asking for a title and a description. Again.
What did you upload it from?
I uploaded it from my iPad. I had taken it on my iPad. It was a little
I see. And in the iPad upload interface, you typed in a title and a description on the iPad?
Well, it was on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
When I got into YouTube, it was the same page where they asked me if it was public or private.
Right. There, when you make a change on that page, there's a save button you have to hit.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like you might have missed that.
Okay.
Ask me how I know that.
So at the top
I've done that a bunch of times.
At the top of the page I'm on right now, it says add details and there's an arrow to the left. So I just go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And make sure to hit the save button after you finish typing everything in. It's
right.
easy to miss that. Trust me, I know.
It won't let me go back. And it does say public, like I did before.
right?
So why hasn't it let me do the 13-year-old thing?
That would be on the details page.
Okay, so, and it won't take me, well,
Won't let you tap back to it. You might have to go out and come back in again.
it says, so I went backwards and it says discard changes. If you go back now, you'll lose all changes, but I won't lose my video. That's what I'm,
No, you won't lose your video, but you will lose any
Okay.
changes. I'd probably save what you have now and go back in later and do that separately. And you might find that easier to do from your computer than from your iPad.
so,
The YouTube interface is not the best designed interface I've ever seen in my life, for sure. And it's hard enough to navigate on a computer, much less a portable device.
okay.
I just go back.
It was
and
the best. I mean, this is an iPad 13 and it took a beautiful video.
Oh yeah.
Hands down.
Oh, that
This
part of
was
it.
a song. This was a concert.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's the camera in that and the microphone and so on are amazing.
Are really nice, yeah. So,
But it's still not a general purpose computer. And interacting with some sites is easier on a general purpose.
okay, all right. All right, thank you, Dave. Thank you for answering all my questions today.
That's what I am here
And
for.
And I've got the last, I've
What
got the
good
last
would I
question
be?
there.
Yes, Carlin, I am looking at your question right now, as a matter of fact. You are right. It is the last one.
Uh-huh.
No, I'll take more. I'm reading it right now. How do I tell who is actually here and who just have not officially signed off? Students can do the same. You can go to gallery view and you can see who's still logged into the meeting.
I know, but if you look, it says we've got 11 participants. Now,
Yep.
my name is just there because I don't use my camera.
All right,
And
that's fine.
there's you,
And that's true for-
Kathy, Shirley stepped away from hers, but the other people are like me. They don't have live pictures. So
Right.
how do you tell in the classroom who's there and who has walked away 2
all
hours?
you know and all you can know is whether their computer or their mobile device is still logged into the
Okay.
meeting. You can't know if they're actually there or not unless they have their camera on. You're
Okay.
absolutely right. And I'm sure that's a dodge that some student will think of.
Oh,
Oh yeah. They're not stupid.
yeah. Well, I've been watching these pictures and even the live cameras where the people walk out and you don't see them for a long, long time. You know,
Yeah.
the same thing. And you missed my other question or statement
Uh-oh.
before, that
Please.
people should be looking at these photos, you know, these live camera shots to realize, because there's one person in there, all you saw for the entire time was the top of their head. And someone
Right.
else, it was just their shoulder. People do
Yeah,
not
we
pay
did
attention.
talk about that. Not much you can do about that unless you have far end camera control. And they're probably not going to give you that.
No, if you're the one like you're nicely centered. But if you're the one that's leading the Zoom, you need to pay attention to what your
Right.
feed looks like.
Indeed. And you need to see your own video, which you
Right.
might not see if you were operating in speaker view. That's why I always host in gallery view. And I'm just one of the people up there, but I
Oh,
can
okay.
see myself the whole time. So I know if I've slumped down too far in my chair or something, I know.
Well, it's like
But
when
good
we
point.
used to
Yeah. Yeah.
use the old overhead projectors and we had to play around with the papers till we got them to show well.
Exactly. You're looking back over your shoulder, looking at
There you go.
Been
Well,
there,
thank you
done
very
that.
much.
You bet. Thanks for
All right.
coming and thanks for sticking it out to the bitter end.
I know.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
I'm gonna sign off now. Bye-bye.
Now, you bet. Bye-bye, Carlin. Good to see you.
Good to
Does
see you.
anybody have another question? I'll answer them as long as you've got them. And I don't care
No,
what they
thank you,
are.
Dave.
Oh, my pleasure.
Have a nice birthday evening.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
I'm gonna go eat something unhealthy.
All right.
Fun.
Bye-bye.
Dave, I
Fun.
have a question for you.
Yes,
If-
Brian.
If you teach at different institution, doesn't matter, which account do you use? I mean, like
For
San
Zoom,
Diego State versus, the community college.
you mean which Zoom account?
Zoom account. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Not really. They all work the same way, and the state's paying for all of them. I don't
Nice.
see a problem using one that was paid for by Confer Zoom with San Diego State, because it's all coming out of the State House, right?
I see.
The one issue that you may run into is the Confer Zoom app. If you like teaching at multiple community colleges,
Uh-huh.
you can only use the Confer Zoom app in Canvas if you're using a Zoom account that is linked to the email address for that school.
I see.
So if you use the Confer Zoom app in Canvas, you got to have a separate Confer Zoom account for each community college. That wouldn't have anything to do with San Diego State. So you could easily use any of those accounts when you talk to your students at San Diego State. And like I say, the state's paying for the account, and that's a state institution. So I don't see any reason not to use it over there too.
Will you give me that site that you said you had those short videos for Canvas, just a few minutes?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You're still seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
That is, and I promised to put that
Okay.
in the chat tool too. That's
Okay.
http:// I'm putting it in right now.
Uh-huh.
Thank goodness you can't see me typing in the chat tool.
Uh-huh.
Okay, there it is in the chat tool. It is, oh gosh, excuse me. I was thinking one thing and typing something else. I'm sorry. There, it's SDCCDOLVID, San Diego Community College District online video, SDCCDOLVID.org organization, O-R-G, and enter. That's it. That'll take you there. And here's what it looks like. And the tutorials you referenced are under the LMS tutorials link here for broad strokes. And I can send you, I'll put that a direct link to that in the chat tool as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Strokes, not strokes. K-E-S. That's more like it. Okay, that's in the chat tool as well. That's a direct link to those. Remember, you can save that. Just click on the menu button in the lower right-hand corner and save it to your hard drive.
I'll just take a picture of it too. Thank you so much. Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for sharing it with me.
Thank you.
Anybody else? See some old friends still here. Well, hearing no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and stop the recording. And I've got some new action items here, some new tutorials I'll try to get ready for you. Check that online on-demand video site. We add new stuff to that more than once a week. So there's always something new showing up. And if you have requests for videos, for tutorials that you don't find there, let me know and I'll put it on my list. Take care.